What is up, harvesters? Welcome back to my subscribers, and if you're new here, my name is Ken. Welcome to Hobby Harvest. So today I want to talk to you guys about creating the perfect stand for hunting during the rut. Now, this is something that we can get started on right away this spring, and we can let that flourish into a very nice stand location for especially during the rut. Now, by all means, stick a camera out there, and if it's good other times of the year too, hunt it then also, but this will definitely be a good spot for those cruising bucks during the rut. So this is something that you can probably pretty easily put on your land if you already have other habitat improvements on the property right now. But I'm going to get into how we're going to do this. So what we do know is bucks obviously cruise during the rut. Now, if they do find a doe, yeah, they'll settle down with her for a little bit, do the deed, and then move on, and they'll be back to cruising again. But what we need to do is take advantage of this cruising. Now, what are bucks actually doing while they're cruising? Well, they're checking out different areas of your property and the surrounding area, maybe miles away. They do cruise quite a big distance, like miles when they're cruising. But what they're doing is they're going to areas that they have learned over the course of the year that the other deer, especially the does, hang out in. So they're going to go check out all of your food plots. They're going to go check out all of your other attractions. They're going to go out and check out all the other attractions anywhere within a couple miles of your property also. This is also why you're going to get a couple of those like midnight cruising bucks on camera this time of year during the rut also, because you're going to get those bucks that live miles away and they're cruising through your area to check it out too, even though that's not their home turf. So what we want to do is make an ideal situation where we can really funnel all of these cruising bucks through a very specific area of your property so that you can hunt them while they come through there. Well, how do we do that? Well, it's fairly simple. So first of all, we got to take a look at your overall property, what habitat improvements you have on there already. Maybe you have some food plots in, maybe you have some bedding areas, maybe you put some man-made deer trails in there, you got mock scrapes, all that fun stuff in there already. You've definitely been working on that screening and cutting down on those sight lines. The two biggest things in this whole habitat improvement world, in my opinion, are compartmentalizing all of your attractions and cutting down on the sight line so that the deer can't see each other when they're on one attraction. They can't see deer that are on another attraction. So let's hope you already did all of that stuff. If you haven't, that's something to look forward to getting started on this year as well. But what we want to do is, let's say, take a food plot that you have, like, let's say over here. And what you want to do is maybe you have another attraction over on a different part of your property that's like, it could either be another food plot or maybe it's a bedding area or something. In this situation, we're going to just use another food plot. And then what we're going to do is assume that we also have bedding area that's pocketed and is relating to both of these food sources. So you're kind of left with this like no man's land in the middle here. And what we're going to do in this area is create that ideal buck cruising area where you're going to want to be sitting in this stand every single day of the rut. Now, how are we going to do that? Well, in an ideal situation, this isn't just like an open field or open hardwoods on your property. I'm already assuming that an area like this is going to at least have a little bit of natural thickness, natural cover, natural growth in this area that we can manipulate to our advantage. If not, if this is just a big open area, you're going to be working on establishing all of that undergrowth, those shrubs, those smaller trees, that regenerative growth, so that we can get some thickness down on the ground that we can manipulate for this. So bucks will come out in the open during the rut. That's when we see them in the open the most. They'll be right downtown in a small city. They'll be out standing on the side of the road. There'll be all sorts of places that they never go the rest of the year. But that doesn't mean that they don't still choose to prefer to stick into those thick areas if they have the opportunity to do so. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take these two attractions, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a man-made deer trail that basically connects the two of those attractions. Now, you may already have something like this on your property, and you can just manipulate this a little bit more to get what you want. Now, what we want to do here, though, is we want to sweeten up the use of this trail. So bucks are going to be running those scrape lines during the rut we want to make sure this is a scrape line that they want to run. So what I would do here in these situations is these man-made deer trails that come off either side of these two food plots, I would put a mock scrape right in the edge of the woods from those, just to force them to want to use that trail off of those food attractions more than any other trail off of those food attractions. I'm then going to guide them to another mock scrape, and this is where we're going to put that stand location. Now that stand location is going to be over this mock scrape, but you know what else we're going to add? We're going to put a water hole in here as well, because especially during the rut, those bucks are cruising, they're putting on a lot of miles, they're burning a lot of calories, and they're getting dehydrated. They will come to a water source during the rut more so than any other time of the year. We want to make sure that water source and make sure that mock scrape are right within range of whatever weapon you're hunting with for this stand location. Now, we also want to do everything we can to screen your stand location from those attractions, make it so you can slip in and out of there as easily as possible without being detected. Now, it's the rut. We never know where the bucks are going to be during the rut. You have a very high probability of spooking a buck when you walk in or walk out from a rut stand location like this. But that's something we just have to deal with. They're just cruising 24/7 that time of year, and you're always going to risk slipping in and coming face to face with one on the ground. He's going to wave the white flag and run away. But the beauty of the rut is it usually doesn't matter. He's going to get on that scent again. He's going to start following it. It doesn't matter what he saw with you or if you spooked him that time of year. It will a little bit. Obviously, he's going to run away. But another one could be right behind him, and you haven't blown out your hunt by spooking a buck during the rut. They are just have something completely different on their mind that time of year, so it really is an easier time of the year to hunt. But let's get back to the habitat improvement. So you want to make sure that these trails that come in and out of here are very much set up that it's like the only way they can go. Now, we don't want to ever like trap a deer on a trail when we're making these man-made deer trails, because if they feel like they're just going like through a cattle chute, they're not going to go in there. They don't like that feeling of being like trapped in there. So we do need to give them the opportunity to escape the trail, but let them escape that trail at like a 90-degree angle. Don't give them like a nice like sort of 45-degree bend off of the trail if you want to keep them on this trail. So you can do this by like hinge cutting trees or just straight off up cutting trees down in like a 90-degree angle away from the trail in order to sort of block them from leaving this trail. You can also get in there, plant some shrubs, get in there, plant some grasses, plant some thick, gnarly stuff that's going to prevent them from wanting to like leave the trail. Make it that nice, easy path of travel through the woods. And of course, do not make these in like a big straight line. You want these to bend and weave their way from those two food plots in this situation to your stand location. Now, once you've done that, I don't like the idea of having this be just a connection between those two food plots. So the next thing I want to do is like, remember when I said we probably have that pocketed bedding area adjacent to this that's relating to these two food plots? In this situation, what I want to do is I do want to give them that like 45-degree bend off of this main trail, but at that mock scrape and at that water hole, and then kind of go and bend and go off into those bedding areas as well. So you could hypothetically be drawing bucks from bedding area, from food plot, a buck that's traveling between the food plots from food plot to bedding or vice versa. These bucks are cruising. They're checking out those compartmentalized attractions on your property. I talk so much about that, and this is one of the reasons why, because when you compartmentalize all of those attractions on your property, when it comes rut time, those bucks have to go and look at each and every one of those pockets to check it out for does, which gets them to basically comb through your entire property. And regardless of where you're sitting, he should eventually come in front of you. Now, we're throwing that all out the window and saying, hey, you know what? I don't need to hunt a food plot during the rut because I'm going to create this stand location. This stand location is going to be my favorite rut hunting location. And like I said earlier, throw a camera on there. This stand could be great outside of the rut too, especially if it's in that real gnarly thick area of the woods. Deer always love being in the thickest part of the woods, especially if they're going to be bedding, but also if they're just traveling. The only time they really do come out into the open is to feed, or if they're like in a hurry trying to like get away from something or just get from point A to point B faster. They are very rarely out in the open. We want to create this nice, gnarly, thick patch that has both that mock scrape, that water hole, and these man-made deer trails coming into it from your other attractions on your property. This is going to create a huge funnel, a huge vacuum on your property for those cruising bucks during the rut, and that is how you're going to get a shot on them. Now, if you guys feel like you got some value out of this video, go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Leave me a comment down below of what your favorite rut stand is, what the setup of that is. Maybe we can help everybody else out in this community, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.